Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about divine masculine's lack of self-love. For the longest time, the masculine energy has been distorted, and the old paradigms and teachings have put their mindset onto a certain goals that they have to reach, or a certain targets that they have to keep in mind and hit in order to be accepted in their surroundings. And all of this starts with their childhood and their immediate family that they grow up in. The majority of twin flames or people on a spiritual path have been grown up in some kind of a toxic environment, and that toxic environment is the first lesson for them to be able to deal with, and in order to close out the karmic cycles of past lives, or even this life. If you don't believe in a past life, you still pile up karma as you grow older if you don't follow your path, or if you're not aware of your life goal, or your life purpose. In these toxic immediate environments in childhood, one of the major reasons of the source of toxicity is a toxic parent, and usually this parent is a mother. These toxic mothers raise their children as somebody who is chained to them, as somebody who is constantly trying to seek their approval, somebody who doesn't love themselves, somebody who is never good enough. And this could be for feminines or masculines, it doesn't matter. It's one of the main reasons why people grow up into becoming people with low self-esteems, people that don't love themselves, people that don't put their well-being priority, people who don't put themselves priority, because in a childhood, in their childhood family, they were not priority for their parents, and especially for their mom. They always had to prove themselves. If they went to school, their grades were never good enough. Their achievements were never good enough. They probably didn't get to do what they wanted to do as they grew older and wanted to, I don't know, pick a major in university, you name it. If they wanted to be a football player and then they became, I don't know, a pianist. Or if they wanted to do music and then they ended up doing engineering, let's say. Um, these children have grown up into feminines and masculines into adulthood, but they carried the karma and the wounds of their childhood with them, and these wounds reflect into their relationships with other people, especially into their emotional, romantic relationships with their partners. People that don't love themselves, or people that are not aware of unconditional love, and in their environment love has always had conditions, they are not capable of receiving or providing unconditional love because they don't know what it is. As a child, in the eye of a healthy parent, no matter what you are or no matter how you are, you're loved. But with a narcissistic parent, or a parent that has narcissistic behavior, or is following a certain generational guideline and teachings and paradigm, you have to be able to check a whole lot of boxes in order to be accepted, in order to be loved, in order to be good enough. And that list can have no end. if you're dealing with a narcissistic parent as a child, their list will never have an end. A narcissist never has a cap onto what they want and expect from you. So these children might end up trying all their life to please people around them, especially that narcissistic person, that narcissistic parent. And if that parent is a mother, the effect of that narcissism or that selfishness or that expectation and the conditioned love is a lot more severe, because a mother is a person that a child has the most intimate connection with. It's the foundation of a person's character comes from their mother. The mother is supposed to be the safe place, that guidance, that support that every child needs in order to grow up into a healthy, strong adult. So if that element is absent in a child's life, or even worse than that, if that element is toxic in a child's life, then that child grows up into a defective adult, or into a distorted masculine or feminine energy. What is conditioned love? Conditioned love is when you have to be a certain way for people to accept you, or for people to respect you, for people to love you. If you usually in a masculine's life, you have to have a good job, you have to have a good salary, you have to have a good bank account, you have to have a good source of income, you have to be able to support people around you, you have to have something to brag about. And this end result was not always there. It wasn't always like this. It started with, oh, I have a shinier toy than you, or I can draw a better picture than my sister, or I can I don't know, have better grades than my cousins. Or I have to have better grades than my cousins, so that my mother would stop comparing me. Or I have to be able to be a better, well-behaved child compared to our neighbors' kids, because I don't know, my mom and dad want to hold their head up high in the neighborhood and brag about me. And in most cases than not, that doesn't even happen. The child will never see their parents satisfied. So they keep trying and keep trying, and this becomes a deep wound of people pleasing in adulthood, where a kid that has tried all their life to be accepted by their parents or to be loved by their parents suddenly becomes a people pleaser by trying to wear masks and show themselves as somebody that they're not, in order to attract other people's love, attract their respect, attract their trust. And so not only they're not in their true element, and they become liars, they become manipulative, they become deceptive or deceitful, and they in turn create a toxic environment for anybody that wants to enter a relationship with them. For somebody who is not accepted by their parents or their mother, they will not experience unconditional love. And unconditional love is the most beautiful, high vibrational feeling in the world. It's when you can be your true self, you can be in your element, you can be just transparent and naked with all your flaws and strengths, and the person in front of you, or the people in your environment would just accept you and love you for that, no matter what. But people that grow up in toxic families, in narcissistic environments, never experience that. So if they see that, they will not be able to recognize that. And that's what happens in a lot of twin flame connections, is where the feminine is capable of giving away their love and showing their light and love, but the masculine energy has this barrier in front of them that is repelling that they can't accept it because they don't recognize it, or to them it might feel very vague or unreal. This narcissistic parent phenomena also affects the feminine energy. If you're a daughter into a family that with a narcissistic mother or narcissistic parent, you always had to prove that you could sacrifice yourself. You could give away what was important to you to prove that you were nurturing. You had to show that you were supportive of other people no matter what. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that you had to show that you loved them more than yourself. So this is another case of a child growing up in a narcissistic environment, not learning self-love, not learning self-value, not learning self-respect, because that parent or that environment was always the target. It was always the goal, making them satisfied, making them happy, making whoever they cared about happy. So sometimes it's not even just about one person. It's about that narcissistic parent and their golden children. If you had siblings, let's say, it's not just about your mother. You had to keep their people happy too. You had to keep their friends happy. You had to keep their your siblings that were golden children happy too. And that becomes very exhausting. If you grow up in such environment, you will never get satisfied in your heart. You will never feel loved, and not just loved by other people. You start not loving yourself because you start feeling that no matter what you do, it's never good enough. And then you start asking questions. Why am I not good enough? Then you start doubting yourself. Then you start then your self-esteem is not developed. Then you lose respect for yourself, and then you keep trying for the rest of your life to prove yourself to other people. And that we see as all the codependent women or codependent feminine energies onto other people, on latching themselves to other environments, to masculines, to other feminines for support, or they tried so hard, looking all shallow or looking all desperate in order to receive the love that they never got in their childhood. This is a very deep topic, and I don't want to get too deep in it. I don't want to touch all the scientific aspects of it. I will leave a link to Dr. Ramani, who I follow, and her videos have been very enlightening to me. And she talks about generational narcissists and how in today's society we can break the chain from these generational patterns and mindsets and set ourselves free. To me, as a child, we don't have a choice of where we were born and to what family we're born. Even though in a spirituality aspect of it, our soul, I do believe that our soul has selected the life that they wanted to live and the lessons they wanted to learn in this 3D environment. But in the physical aspects of it, you don't get to choose what family you're born in. You don't get to choose what kind of environment you grew up in. You don't get to choose how you're treated by other people when you're a child. But as you grow older, as you start getting in touch with the society, with other people, and sources of information open up to you, it becomes a lot easier to access that information and utilize them to grow yourself into a more healed, independent person. Right now, with what's going on in the world, I feel that the masculine energy is waking up to the fact that their entire life has been fake, basically, and that they have been wearing masks, they have been bending to rules and regulations and expectations of other people. It starts from immediate family all the way up to the society and workplace and government and the bigger environment. But right now, I feel with what's going on with energies, the cosmic energies, and what's going on in the world with the lockdowns and all the restrictions that people have to deal with, the masculine energy is awakening to the fact that the old mindsets and paradigms and teachings and patterns don't really work for them anymore. As you wake up and you ascend to a higher level of consciousness, you start losing touch with a lower vibrational environment and lower vibrational people. So if you're a masculine listening to this post, or even if you're a feminine and you have a masculine energy in mind, whether it's your friend or your lover or your parent or your siblings, if you look at their lives, if you look at your life, you realize that it feels like a lot of people have changed. It is true and it's false. In a sense, it is true because we are growing as a collective. Our consciousness as humans is rising to a higher level of vibration as we are becoming more aware to the truth. And it's false because there are still a lot of people sleeping. There are still a lot of people not looking at things from a broader viewpoint. There are still a lot of people that are giving in to their ego, to their fears, to their to the lack mentality, they're still chained to the old teachings of a good life is a life that you have a lot of money in, or you're not really happy if you don't have a good job, or you're not really happy if you don't have the best house in the neighborhood. If you feel people around you are changing, there's a good chance that you're growing and you're changing too. And people that are staying stuck don't match your vibration anymore. What I personally feel right now is that the masculine energy is waking up to this fact that they put on so many different masks in so many different scenarios for so many different people, trying to meet other people's expectations, trying to match a certain set of standards, trying to be a certain way in order to be accepted or loved or looked up to in their environment, within their friends, within their family. And they will realize that this is not their true self. This is not the path that they need to be on. I always say to my friends, and I believe I said in my other post, that happiness is not an outward feeling. It's not. It doesn't come from your environment. Happiness starts from within. Happiness starts from a sense of unity inside you. It's when you're in peace with yourself. It's when you are accepting who you are and accepting what you have, and believing that you can try and be the best version of yourself no matter what. And it's also about trusting the universe and your surroundings. that you're protected, and no matter what, you will always land on your feet. And I believe that the masculine energy is waking up to the fact that their entire life they have been trying to satisfy other people, that they haven't really loved themselves, and they have chased dreams and goals that other people imposed on them. For example, going after jobs that pay more, even if they were not really satisfied in it, or living in cities and environments that they were not really happy with it, but it was encouraged that they should do that by their family. Or I don't know, dating people that looked good on paper, but they didn't have any emotional connection with. One of the biggest signs of a distorted masculine energy is going after shiny things. Anything that shines turns their head. Anything that is luxurious turns their head. Anything that you can brag about turns their head. And it's all about artificial, not so genuine part of life. It's all about the surface. There is, if you dig below the surface, you don't find much substance in a masculine's life, in a distorted masculine's life. They don't know what they want. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they should be feeling. They don't know what self-love feels like. They don't know what unconditional love feels like. And their entire life has been about making their mom and dad happy, making their siblings happy, making their friends happy. And that defined their happiness. The fact that they see other people looking up to them was their happiness, not that what they were doing would give them that feeling. Their happiness was in the happiness of others, and that was the codependent part of their environment. That was the toxic part of the environment. So these masculine energies, they switch partners a lot, or they switch their environment a lot, or they don't have any really deep connections or any true friendships with anybody, because after a while how long can you keep a fake foundation together? It falls apart, and before it falls apart they jump to the next audience already. Putting a mask on only works for so long, and that's another reason that the masculine energies they jump from one connection to another, and they're trying to constantly please people around them, because they have to. You can't hide your true self forever. Eventually somebody starts seeing something. Eventually you slip. If you have been living a life of lies, eventually you slip somewhere, and you give it up somewhere, and then you can't keep that foundation together. Eventually you start disappointing people, and because their happiness is in the happiness and praise and I don't know, the shining eyes of others, they cannot see people disappointed with them. So before they see anybody disappointed with them, or before they feel like they really let someone down, they either try to keep love bombing their environment, or they leave that environment. And it has caused a lot of instability in the masculine energy. As their eyes start opening up to the truth, though, that their true happiness comes from within, and the old mindsets don't work anymore, or as they become high vibe, and they start seeing that their environment is toxic, and all their life they have been people pleasing, then they start feeling like they want to talk. They start feeling like there is something heavy on their chest that they want to let out. They want to shed the skin. Um, they want to come out and shine their true self. But the ego part of their self, the 3D part of them, is still afraid, and it causes an unrest. And we see this unrest in families. We see this unrest in society. As they're also growing into their higher vibration, they start looking for truth, and the truth is their true being, their life path, where they're supposed to be, what their true happiness is, who their real gang are. Because people that are lower vibrational than you, they will bring your energy down. They're toxic to you. They will block your growth. They will stop you from proceeding, from growing, from evolving, from shining. And this blockage is becoming harder and harder to tolerate. Part of it we can see in the society as the riots are going on in the United States, and the aftermath of it is affecting other countries as well, is that all of this is masculine energy. It is the action. It is the truth seeking. It is the equality seeking. It's wanting to speak the truth, wanting to search for the truth, wanting to have the right to be yourself and be loved for who you are. Right now, with the Black Lives Matters, they have been suppressed. They have been looked down. They have been a secondary citizen, or they have been treated badly. They have been murdered for nothing. So this is an eruption of the masculine energy coming out of suppression, coming out of restrictions, and wanting to be seen, wanting to be recognized. And this is the societal factor that we can see. But if you look at the men or the females that are in masculine energy in your environment, you can see that they are trying to shine their true self, and it could be that they feel suffocated. And if they are not practicing the truth in their own heart, they start getting sick. So a lot of people are having back problems, neck problems, pains, heart issues right now, because they need to be somewhere else. They need to be somewhere that they can shine and vibrate higher and grow, but they are stuck and chained to an environment that is toxic to them. And this toxicity is showing itself in physical problems, in mental problems, in behavioral problems. And as feminines, if you're a feminine energy listening to this post, your job is to emit real love, true love, unconditional love. And that doesn't mean like pick up the phone and call your person and tell them you love them. No, you practice self-love. And once your cup is full, you shine so bright that anybody in your vicinity and in your environment, in your tribe, will be able to absorb that light and grow as well. I know that I went so many different branches in this little talk. There is a lot of information that I download every day, and there is a lot that's happening in the world, and there is so much going on that is really hard to sit down and put all that together. But I just wanted to have a little talk about what is going on with the masculine energy right now. And a little background of where they come from a toxic environment, toxic childhood. They're trying to heal their childhood wounds. They're recognizing the narcissistic patterns in their families. They're recognizing their own mistakes, the mistakes they made, the choices they made that were wrong, and it was based on other people's expectations. It was based on the wrong teachings, and all of that opposed their true being. They were not honest with their true self. And if somebody doesn't love themselves, they can never love you. And I always believed in that, and I got to see that in my connection with my person, that I didn't love myself. So I tried to get my validation from his love, and he didn't love himself, so he couldn't love me. And it was such an imbalanced connection where two people were attracted to each other, but they couldn't give or receive love, because the love that I would put into the connection was absorbed, and it was given into an environment that he wanted to satisfy. So I wasn't receiving that love back, and it was a codependent relationship between me and him, and it was a codependent relationship between him and his environment. And in both cases, it was toxic. So you can, as a feminine energy, you can heal the world, you can heal yourself, and you can heal your person if you're in connection with anybody spiritually, is by practicing self-love. Fill your cup, stay high vibe, give to yourself, and cut toxic energies. These toxic energies could be friends, could be family members, could be people at work. For as much as you can, cut people. Stay in your power. Don't be afraid of other people's judgments, because the world is rearranging itself, and we're all going through change. And once this change is finished, it's like it's like the Rubik cube, where everything, you have to make so many rotations and so many changes, but at the end everything falls into place and all the faces look perfectly harmonized. So we are going, like 2020, and this period of time is a time of change and awakening and realization of where the flaws were. Where have we been lied to? Where have we been putting masks on? Where have we been people pleasing? And trying to break away from that, trying to come to our self empowerment, trying to become better people for ourselves. And once we fill our cups, once we are full and united within our heart, then the energy that we vibrate in will attract other people to us. It will attract high vibrational people into your life, and it will heal people around you. And trust me, I can see the effects already. I can see the effects of my higher vibration on people around me, and you have no idea how many toxic energies I have cut out of my life. And I'm not even doing anything difficult. I'm just trying to be myself, and I'm honest with myself, and I'm honest with people around me. And if somebody just doesn't approve or doesn't like it, they don't need to be in my life. And that could be the approach with a lot of you. You don't have to keep so many people in your life and keep everybody happy. Your life is for you. You live it once. Even if you're trying to incarnate back and learn other lessons, this life right now on this earth happens once, and it's yours, and you have the right to write your own destiny. You have the right to write your own future, and nobody else has that right. I remember I used to tell my person that all the people that he's trying to please and keep them satisfied and feed to them, they will never call him if he's sick. They wouldn't reach out to him when he's alone at night. They wouldn't wonder about him when he needs something. And at the end of the day, it's only him that can heal himself. It's only him that can fill his own cup, and it's only him that can love himself. And I hope that there is someday that all these masculine energies realize that their substance, their inner substance is what matters, and not all the outer belongings that they collect around them. A person without substance, you cannot live with them. You can have a little home, a little house, and make it a home with love, with compassion, with warmth, with honesty, with devotion. But you can live in the biggest mansion and you still feel alone. So that sense of happiness and stability comes from the heart. My masculine, my person left me for a house, a car, um, a position, a prestige, and the image of somebody else. Not even for him, for somebody else's image, somebody else's money, somebody else's house, somebody else's job. And it was very hurtful to me in the beginning, but then I realized, after I healed, of course, that this is his karma. He needs to learn that happiness doesn't come from attachment to finances, to money, to belongings, and all of that is good, but you have to be stable in yourself in order to appreciate that. Because if you're not a stable person, if you don't love yourself, even if you have all the money in the world, even if you have the biggest house in the world, you can lose that the next minute, and then what? And then your life goes upside down again, right? Stability comes from the heart. So try to find your center of gravity. Try to ground yourself. Trying to find the balance within yourself, and practice self-love. Give to yourself before you give to anybody else, and live the life that you want to live, no matter what anybody else thinks about it. And I know it's difficult, but eventually people get adjusted to situations. There could be a few tantrums from your surroundings, from your parents, from your friends in the beginning. There could be gossips, there could be judgments. But eventually, you give it time, and everybody will get used to it. Everybody will get used to the real you, to the new you, to the you that you want to be. And if people don't like it, the ones that don't like it, they don't need to be in your life. They can be in an environment that they like. And trust me, you will attract people that will appreciate you for who you are, and for what you want to do with your life for real, instead of what you want to do for them. So that's it for today. I know that I jumped a few branches, and it wasn't as focused as before, but I just wanted to share a few thoughts of what I'm going through and what the world is going through right now. I hope you have a safe and happy week, and please subscribe to my page if you like the content, and follow me on Instagram if you like daily messages. Okay, see you next time.